My disabled mom keeps criticizing my wife, so I'm cutting contact with her.
Wow, it looks like you need to take a look at yourself.
My wife, female 27, and I, male 28, always take our moms to a restaurant on Mother's Day weekend with our 2 kids. And we'll sometimes do something fun afterwards, such as a movie or hanging out in the backyard. However, things have been difficult for my mom since my father passed away some years ago. And it led to a relapse in drinking that she stopped for some time when he was alive, along with some depression too. By the way, this comes from ThrowRaidLescent. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, things began to get better when one of her friends invited her to church, and she attended for almost 2 years, which coincided with her drop in booze again, along with improvements to her mental health.
Nice.
As she got more involved with midweek classes and church support groups.
Yeah, I think this just brings a community aspect to her life.
Yeah. However, that came with some negative side effects that led to me putting up boundaries with her. My mom wasn't raised religious growing up, but she began to change upon going, which later led to me making this post. One of the earliest things she began doing was criticizing the radio in my car for not being Christian music when driving to her doctor's appointments. I only want to hear the Christian rock music.
Dude, that was me
on.
back home. My mom only listens to Christian music. And now she listens to like Leonard Skinner with my brothers. And I'm like, why didn't you do that with me growing up?
Why didn't I get to listen to Leonard Skinner?
I never got to listen to Freebird until I was 18.
That sucks, man. It's
Imagine
rough.
living that kind of life.
That's rough. Couldn't do it. But when she criticized my wife for not bringing our kids to her church's Sunday school, my wife told me, and I told my mom, that while we're happy that church has helped her depression and cutting back on booze, we personally disagree with indoctrinating kids. But she didn't like my answer. She said I owed it to her to take them because her husband wasn't saved and wouldn't be in heaven with her, and she didn't want the same for her grandchildren. Girl.
Oh, no.
But when I held firm on my stance, she said I was failing as a parent before we eventually dropped it.
Oh, no.
Girl, your faith is your own, and I'm glad it's helping you, but don't try and push it on your family.
Yeah, and you also have to like read the Bible a little bit more here.
Yeah, girl.
'Cause if you
live it. Show them that it's great.
Show them exactly. If you want them to be really about it, you have to live how Jesus lived, and then they'll be like, "Wow, that looks great. I want to check that out."
You don't have to push them.
But pointing the finger at them
Doesn't work.
it's gonna waste energy.
But when she criticized my wife's parenting for almost an hour while at a Little League game for our sons some months ago, a game I wasn't present for that also made her cry, that led to us deciding to set boundaries and taking a break from driving / telling her about sporting events for our kids. Yeah. Our decision was also based on Mom's newfound willingness to pester my wife via text about who she'd be voting for and why she'd be voting right for the first time after explaining how she wrongly voted left before going to church. My wife told her nicely that she didn't feel comfortable discussing politics, but Mom ignored her and continued telling her who she should vote for.
Dude.
Yikes.
Oh,
Yeah, you got to
gosh.
set up really strong boundaries with this person because your mom is going to keep trying to insert herself and tell you guys what she thinks is right as if it's like the word of God, and it's not.
Dude.
It's not.
Dude.
She found this late and she's now like, well, now I found this. It's absolutely truth and you have to believe me.
Dude, like, this might piss people off, but when you can, the politics and Christianity are the same thing in the same lane, you have to think the same on that. It's so sad to see because, like, you're just speaking 2 different languages saying it's, the right, it's all right. And it's, oh, dude, it's so mind-boggling. That's so sad to see this happen.
Let's just keep it out. If you can't be respectful, just don't talk about it.
The real problem here is critical thinking. Because I don't think the mother is actually challenging herself to think on her own.
No, I mean she was at this low period of her life. She goes to church. They're probably saying this thing, and she's just spouting it right back out.
Yeah,
she's not thinking about anything. She's just like, "Whoop, they're telling me this."
And the thing that bothers me is like, as Christians, you're supposed to read, scripture and everything, and then interpret it the way that you think, and let God speak to you through that, instead of letting the preacher speak to you, and then you're like, okay, that's what I'm going to say.
The literal entire point if you look at like history, religious history, the entire point of the Bible being translated into different languages was so that people could, like lay people who didn't speak Latin could read it and be like, oh, this is what the Bible's saying. I'm going to interpret it. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's the whole point. Unless you're going to church in Latin, you're supposed to know what you're talking about. And then, you're not supposed to. You're doing it wrong, girl.
Yeah, it's so sad.
That finally brings me to Mother's Day. When we set boundaries, we took a break from bringing her to our kids' sporting event, but decided to keep holiday gatherings, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Memorial, July 4th, etc., until she improved. But as of this weekend, Mom called my wife and told her that she didn't want to be included in Mother's Day activities because her church was boycotting Mother's Day. After the pastor's wife spoke about how too many women skip church to go to breakfast when God should always come first no matter the holiday. Sorry, they're boycotting Mother's Day because people are going to brunch?
Dude, that's...
Maybe you should make your Mother's Day mass better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that, because if you don't have your people fired up to hear what you got to say in church, then you're doing something wrong.
Also, do you think that boycotting Mother's Day is going to make the moms want to come to your Mother's Day mass?
It kind of looks like you don't support women, not going to lie.
That's what it feels like.
And most importantly, mothers. You don't support mothers?
Which, I'm sorry, mothers are pretty important in Christianity.
Yeah, because if you don't have a mother, you don't have a population.
So for that reason, her church was having a Mother's Day luncheon after service where they wanted mothers to invite their families to church for the holiday. And she wanted us to come with the kids to hear a message about mothers from God. But when my wife said she would talk to me about it, Mom criticized her for always having to ask me and said she needed to grow a spine, which I don't appreciate. She also told her that our kids needed to be in church and that she wouldn't spend other holidays with us unless we came. And I'm quite aggravated with her at the moment. So in conclusion, here is my question. My wife thinks we should cut her off permanently, but I'm in charge of driving her to doctor's appointments along with getting her medication because she can't drive. So that makes it slightly complicated to cut her off since her health depends on us. She says she doesn't want a nurse or retirement home. But if it weren't for that, I'm right there with her. My wife offered the idea of only me keeping contact for the sole purpose of medication and doctors only, but she's also unsure and suggested counseling on the matter, and I'm open to doing that together. But as we're looking into counseling options, I wanted to ask Reddit in case anyone else is a caretaker for a different person and how to navigate when the relationship changes. And I appreciate any and all advice.
So,
what do you think?
This mother has decided to change her life for better, in her opinion. And she's trying to do the things that she thinks is right. And she wants her life to reflect it in all aspects, even with their son, and being like, hey, this is how I live my life. I think you should live your life this way too, because this is the better way. I just think she's missing the critical thinking aspect of all of this and not really understanding how her words have weight on her family and how she may sound a little crazy here.
Well, I think that she's just willing to sacrifice her relationship with her son and her grandchildren to be right.
Yeah.
Which is never the point. Like, again, grew up Catholic. That's not what the scripture, that's not what Jesus was saying.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
It's like she says that she's preaching this doctrine, but is not being respectful and is not actually listening to the doctrine. She's just listening to what the preacher's saying, which is probably a very, a very specific interpretation.
Yeah. And it just bothers me too, because a lot of churches these days are more about the business rather than actually seeking out like what the Bible is actually trying to say. So like you also have that filter on top of it too. And I don't know. It's all in good intention, but just executed wrongly.
Very wrong.
Yeah.
Edit 1 hour after making my post, it has already been worth it. Others suggested having my mom be driven to the doctor and medications from church friends or an Uber, and I hadn't thought of that before this post. Yeah, I was about to say, is there anyone who can drive your mom else? Like maybe you can organize that, but you still limit contact? Because she's just not being respectful, and that's not okay. My wife has considered cutting her off in the past and blocking her, but changed her mind every time due to my mom being in a wheelchair and wanting to try and be the bigger person. She is now ready to block her and move on, and the only reason I didn't cut her off sooner was due to her being in a wheelchair until receiving suggestions to tell her to let her church friends or an Uber driver instead of us, so we no longer have to tolerate it. Mom was never like this before Dad passed and she started going to church, but she kept harping on how she realized that her husband wouldn't be in heaven after getting saved herself. So she wanted her grandchildren to go to heaven, said we owed it to her to bring them to church. And when I told her we disagree with indoctrinating children, especially with how Christianity can screw with your mind if they ever want to come out in the future, she called me selfish among other things. And she seems to be driven from losing her husband.
Oh man, and that's like not how Christianity is set up. It's set up with like a willing intention, like I want to get to know Jesus more, thus like I'll go to heaven and all that stuff. If grandkids are forced into that, that's not how it's built out to be. It's dude, she's not getting it. She is like lost because of her husband.
Mm-hmm. I think this church has become an unhealthy coping mechanism for her emotional trauma of losing her husband after she refused counseling for her depression when we suggested way back closer to Dad's passing. Here's what's crazy though. Her whole personality changed in under 2 years of going to that church and becoming a Christian. It can happen. I know some people, I won't name names, but I know some people who, or I didn't see this, but my parents saw this transition of like becoming very, very religious, and you like, especially depending on the church that you go to, you can go down a path where you think that you're the only person who's right and everyone else who's not wrong, like who's not listening to you is going to hell. And it's like, why are we having that mindset instead of actually living out the doctrine of love?
Yeah, and loving on people.
That's the main point. She's become fixated on hell and wanting our grandkids to go to church so that our grandkids would go to heaven and not be separated from her like Dad, who passed away unsaved. And she even flipped her political parties too and became very outspoken about it when she used to hardly talk politics and was somewhat reserved. And there is an update. So
you can really tell that if someone like, it's one thing to like find a religion and be all about that religion, but it's another thing to like find that religion and also
change who you are.
Politics on it. It's like you're just listening to what these new people have to say and you're not really critically thinking.
Yeah.
If it's intentional and it's like, I'm going to this because of these views, great. But I know that if you ask her, so why did you change from this to this?
It's because her church said, well, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
True Christians vote this way. And it's like, whoa.
But why? Oh, I see that. I'm going to do this. It just seems very aggressive. It's weird. This is weird.
It is weird. Some people asked what we ended up doing, so I wanted to provide an update for those who helped. But before I do, there's one thing I want to address. Many people asked why I didn't cut my mom out of our lives immediately after she made my wife cry at a baseball game. And I discussed cutting her off when it happened. Well, we know why, because she has medical issues.
And I come from a family where my parents have had a distance from her parents, even though everyone's like, Christian or cool. You just need that sometimes in life. You just need to kind of space from people.
However, my wife disagreed and said my mom needed support in 2 ways: seeing the kids and driving her shopping and to doctors and prescriptions. We set a boundary of no longer taking her to our kids' games, but my wife also said that her seeing the kids for holidays would help her overcome the loss of her husband, and she believed that losing access to their sporting events would make her change. However, the biggest reason my wife didn't want to cut her off is because she's a Christian too. And she was happy when my mom got saved and believed we should turn the cheek despite the baseball incident because God loved us when we didn't deserve it.
Oh my gosh. I have so many things to say about turning the cheek on that one too.
So we agreed to just remove her from sporting events to see if she'd change.
Nice. Okay. I like that.
Personally, I'm not a Christian, but my wife and I think similarly. She despises how many Christians criticize gay people and pregnancy terminations and believes that God loves all people for who they are. And she said she'd be supportive if our kids came out too. That brings me to what happened since my original post. After my mom told my wife to grow a spine and stop bringing everything she suggests to me in unity, my wife reached her breaking point and wanted to officially cut her off. And thanks to helpful comments that told us how to have her prescriptions delivered and suggest having one of her church friends or an Uber take her to the doctors if she's going to continue verbally abusing my wife and family, I sat down with her and gave her those options, and she didn't like anything I had to say. She reiterated how I was failing my kids when I told her we wouldn't bring them to church for Mother's Day in exchange for her no longer spending time with our family as she threatened, because family time isn't conditional. And when I asked her how she could throw away who she was before Grandpa passed, she reiterated how she regretted accepting Christ before Grandpa passed and that he wasn't in heaven because of it. So when she told me that she didn't want me taking her shopping or to the doctor anymore, she said I wasn't her child anymore because I was preventing her from being around my kids. So she basically disowned me in hopes that I'd cave and bring my kids to church on Mother's Day coming up, and my wife and I have no plans to do so. It's been really hard the past few days since we spoke. But my wife supports our boundary and added one more reason why she hit her breaking point. During a recent argument between my wife and mom, my mom asked her why she wouldn't bring our kids to her church, or any church at all, when my wife is a Christian. And my wife told her that she hasn't attended any church since 2016 because church in America has changed in many places. The church my wife attended began becoming more political, even to the point of endorsing the 45th president from the pulpit during sermons, and occasionally making comments about gay people and pregnancy terminations.
Okay, like, why are we endorsing presidents
That's so
at church?
weird.
That's not.
That's so weird.
Because I know for a fact that if the man above came and endorsed the options that came, he'd be like, "Yo, we're so cooked." Like, that's my true thought. I don't think American politics and Christianity should ever go hand in hand. That's just, oh my
I
gosh,
agree.
that's so sad.
Church and state, man. Separation of church and state. Let's separate that church and state.
So wild.
We're not a freaking, theocracy. And she believes that church is supposed to be about love and not hate, like too many churches have forgotten since 2016. By the way, I would hate if you didn't listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story, but
Dude, I'm so
I think
done
you guys
with
are
this
making.
mother.
I think you guys are making the right decision.
Yeah. And
She's chosen. The thing is, she's made her choice.
yeah. And I like they said the example of turn the cheek, and the whole reason, I'm gonna go on a little rant here because I can. They gave me a mic. I can go on a rant on this. So the whole reason of like turning the cheek is not like, if Sophia punches me, I'm gonna turn the cheek and let her punch me again. No, it's like kind of symbolizing like the unjust in like the world. So like, for example, during the days of Jesus, if a Roman soldier asks you to carry or to pick up their stuff, and like they can like come to you and be like, hey, carry my things for a mile. They can only do it for a mile. You're supposed to carry it for 2.
I did know this. Yeah.
You're supposed to carry it for 2 to show like how unjust it is and kind of be petty. It's actually to be petty in a way.
I did learn this, which is like, I love that.
Yeah.
I love
And
that
I
story.
think like that's what you've shown is like how petty their thought of the world should be perceived. So then like, it's like, hey, this is really unjust what you're doing to me. It's not like I'm going to let Sophia keep hitting me, or I'm going to have to always carry Sophia's things. It's like, I'll let it happen once to show how petty it is. And then I'm going to guard myself so I will be protected and not like, that's the whole intent of that. And I think that this family has done that beautifully, where like they, said, like, we're going to set boundaries so we don't let this mom, because you're the parents of these kids, so you have the first say
Absolutely.
in how to like, treat your kids and like teach them.
Agreed. But that, there's a little bit left to that story, so we're going to finish it off. So for that reason, my wife simply reads her Bible at home and said she'll never enter a church again outside of a funeral because too many churches worship the president instead of God. And my mom called her a fake Christian despite only being a Christian for 2 years since Grandpa passed away, compared to my wife, who's been a Christian for much longer. We plan to stay firm to our boundary on Mother's Day, but it honestly hurts to have been disowned. So if anyone has any suggestions about coping with that, I'd appreciate it, although my wife has been supportive. And we're trying to figure out how to tell our kids that Grandma likely won't be part of our lives anymore, along with the importance of choosing religion or not for themselves, which is why we're making the boundary with Grandma. So if anyone has any suggestions on how to speak to our kids too, we'd appreciate that as well. And folks, that is the end of that story.
Yeah. Dude,
There you go.
best thing you can do is pray for her. I'll be praying. Best thing you can do.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad to see it.
It really sucks. It really sucks when people use religion as a way to control.
Weaponize.
And weaponize religion when it's
been happening for centuries, man.
Yep, that's what got the freaking Crusades, dude.
Yeah.
It's been used like that always.
It really has.
That's why I personally don't like organized religion, but that's my own personal thoughts.
And that's why I have a relationship with Jesus and not a religion.
And there,
Hot
yeah,
take.
yeah.
Wow, I'm so glad I could give a little speak. Sorry if it was a little too preachy, but that's just how I view things.
I mean, it's relevant for this story.
Yeah.
And you got me. You have the religious and the agnostic.
Someone said like when a Christian and agnostic do a podcast.
That's
together.
literally that's awesome.
This is what
Yeah,
happened.
I'm coming from it like with the academic. I'm like, well, this in the when I had to study this, and Riley's like, well, this is my faith, and that's you get both sides, man.
It's called respect.
Where do you stand, Keon?
I'm agnostic as well.
Hell yeah.
Agnostic.
It's
It's the Catholic
it's
school.
the Catholic church trauma.
Yeah, it's the Catholic church trauma.
Where it's like kind of like bink. It's in your head. Like you got to do this every day. We're like, oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. But folks, that's the end of that story. I put a stop to the party my wife threw for our daughter.
Party pooper. And we're back, guys, in the same clothes.
Woo! Let me set the stage. My wife and I, 43 male and 42 female, have 2 daughters, 7 years apart. 19-year-old was out of college in a different state when this happened. The girls are very different. The 19-year-old is outgoing, even extroverted, loves meeting new people, trying new things, etc. 12-year-old is shy, a homebody, finds things she's comfortable with and sticks with them. In fairness, 19-year-old was kind of like this until she was 16 or so. Maybe it's genetic. By the way, this comes from Yoka Loka Choka, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, and a couple months ago, 12-year-old comes to me in my home office, obviously upset, stammers a bit, then manages to tell me that she just got her first period. I play the supportive dad, comfort her, and get her a box of sanitary pads my wife had bought earlier in the year, guessing this was going to happen sooner or later, and go over the instructions with her. Good dad.
Wow.
Good on ya.
Look at that. I would. Oh my God, you're bleeding. Oh my God.
You're bleeding.
Are you okay? Oh my God.
Somebody call
You're
911.
dying.
What do we do? That'd be me. Because I
Wow,
don't know what
you're-
it's like. Because I grew up with brothers.
You got to figure out, man. If you have a daughter,
Well,
you got to figure it out.
my genetics probably won't. I want one, but probably won't.
And just
You-
boys.
What? I have like all of my.
But Angie's got a bunch of sisters,
She has 2
so
sisters
maybe
and a brother.
maybe it'll counteract.
I hope so. I do want my first kid to be a girl.
Oh. And she goes into the bathroom, does what she has to do, thanks me for my help. I got her some ice cream and my doll, told her there was nothing to be embarrassed about, and she could always come to me for anything. Good job, Dad. Wife gets home later that day. 12-year-old tells her what happened. Wife starts crying. My little girl is growing up, etc. Then asks who should be invited to the period party.
Whoa, wait, what?
Okay.
Is it like a tea party, but you just have red 40 in the tea?
Which I only knew from listening to Bert Kreischer if they were a thing when our 19-year-old started. She never asked for one. I have heard that comedy clip. Have you seen that? It's like a comedian. It's like, my daughter asked for a period party. Okay, well, anyway.
Well,
It's a
no,
clip.
like, what is it?
I don't remember the full clip, but it's just him like in his special he's talking, or in his set he's talking about how his daughter was gonna like invite a bunch of boys and not tell him that it was a period party, and he was like, yes, evil. There's a whole thing. It's funny.
His daughter was a grade below yours.
Oh wait, that's that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. 12-year-old immediately closes off, says she doesn't want a period party, doesn't want anyone to know. Wife tries to talk to her some more, but 12-year-old ignores her and goes to her room. Wife tries to enlist my aid in changing her mind, but I tell her she said she didn't want one. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, also, you could have maybe done that with your extroverted daughter, but
Yeah.
too bad you didn't think of the idea.
Too
until
bad,
after.
so sad. Your 12-year-old doesn't want it.
Or you say, my 19-year-old daughter just had her first period, and then you give her one.
Yeah, you retroactively give her a period party. 2 days later, I got home from running errands, and before I can even make it to the stairs, 12-year-old runs up to me and asks if she can do her homework in my office. I'm confused, but say sure, and she bolts upstairs. At this point, I started to suspect what was going on and walked into the living room to find that my wife had not only decorated it like something which wouldn't have looked out of place on my super sweet 16, but there were several family friends, all women, and a few I recognize as neighborhood mothers. Why are you doing this? You're clearly just embarrassing your daughter. Why would you, she doesn't want it.
Weird.
I beckon wife into the hall. She asks where 12-year-old is, and I tell her she wanted to do homework in my office. She rolls her eyes and starts to move past me, but I step in front of her. What are you doing? Wife. Going to get 12-year-old. It's her party. Me. She told you specifically she didn't want one of these. Wife. Oh, she didn't mean that. This is an important time for a girl. She needs to know not to be ashamed of her body. She's not. I already explained things to her. She just doesn't want to talk about it more. Were you going to say something?
I don't understand why the mom is doing this. It sounds like you got 3 daughters in your house. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's not being
She's being a bully.
She's being a bully. She's not being a proactive, listening, communicative partner.
No. Wife, I don't expect you to understand. This is just for us women. She actually tried to push past me, but I stepped into the doorway and completely blocked her. Wife, what's wrong with you? Me, what's wrong with you? You know how shy 12-year-old is. You knew she didn't want you doing something like this, and you did it anyway. I told you it's for her own good. We can't let her grow up with a negative attitude towards something so natural. And we're not. I told you she knows what's going on. She's getting a handle on it. She just doesn't want to talk about it with anyone else right now. Well, it wasn't your business to tell her about it anyway. You were at work. Was I supposed to ignore her for 4 hours until you got home? You could have called me. I would have come home. This is so silly because it seems like she's saying, oh, we need to teach our daughter not to be ashamed, but also her father doesn't have a right to talk to his daughter about it. Like, oh, you should be ashamed of telling your father. It's like, no.
I am interested in the parenting dynamic.
It doesn't make sense.
Of all of this. Cause
like, why is he so cool and she sucks?
Yeah, she's like kind of, I don't know, putting him down, not really working with him.
OP says, it still would have taken you an hour. She was upset. I knew what was going on. I talked her through it. You don't know anything about it. It's never happened to you. And he was ready. He prepared himself. He probably researched stuff. He looked into it. He was ready, man. You weren't there. At this point, I gave up. Point to my wife. No, I've never had a period, but I had 3 older sisters and a living girlfriend before my wife and I met. Plus, we've been married almost 21 years. Plus, he has a 19-year-old daughter. I'm pretty well versed. She again tries to move past me, but I don't move. No, 12-year-old doesn't want this. I'm not letting you make her do it. Fine, have your way. She goes back to the living room and tells the other ladies, the period party's off because I'm being a jackbutt. I lose it, follow her in, and let the women know, calmly, but in no uncertain terms, that I appreciate what they wanted to do, but 12-year-old made it explicitly clear that she did not want this party, and my wife is trying to pressure her into it.
I hate that he had to do that.
Yeah, but she was lying.
Yeah, because you were going to be looked as a bad guy.
Yeah, they would have been like, oh, he's not supportive of the period party. He hates women. He's trying to protect women.
Let me set this straight real quick.
Several of the moms frown at her. My wife starts to backpedal, talking about how she didn't think 12-year-old was being serious. But I ignore her and begin taking down the decorations. Everyone clears out shortly, and once the coast is clear, 12-year-old comes back downstairs. My wife gives her a half-butted, in my opinion, apology, again saying she didn't think 12-year-old was serious. But 12-year-old also ignores her and just starts doing her homework in her usual place at the table. My wife was pissed at me for a week, claiming I undermined her authority as a parent, apparently by not helping her force our daughter into doing something she didn't want to do, and made her look bad in front of the neighborhood moms by telling them she'd be doing this against our daughter's wishes. Then maybe you shouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the a-hole? And there are comments, folks. But what do you think?
You're not the a-hole.
You're not
wife
the a-hole.
Is being not mature about it, letting her selfish needs get a hold of
Absolutely.
her.
Yeah.
I don't know, we're really odd how the wife just kind of went over you and the 12-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, it's a weird dynamic to have OP be so supportive of his daughter and then this mom just be kind of awful. And also, you know, ragging on OP as well and throwing him under the bus whenever she can. It's weird. It's weird. Why? What are her positives?
Yeah.
Why is she doing this now? Has she ever done this behavior before?
Or is it just that a period party is something really important
for
that
her.
every woman should do, and she's trying to start a tradition, and everyone's missing out on it, and this 12-year-old is actually going to become the worst thing ever because she didn't have a period party.
Yeah, she's like, you don't understand how fun it is.
Also, what is a period party? What are we doing here? Are we just...
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what her period party entails.
We drink fruit punch, strawberries, cranberries. I don't know.
I don't know. And you watch Twilight or something. Comments. Comment 1, not the a-hole. Puberty is an awkward, embarrassing time. Having your parents shine a spotlight on every confusing milestone would be a nightmare. And reply, and puberty embarrassment aside, there's a whole host of privacy issues involved with what OP's wife did. Ignoring her kid's request for privacy is a massive violation of trust, especially for a kid. It teaches her that she can't entirely trust her mother to keep anything a secret. Hopefully the kid can trust and rely on her dad, because if he hadn't advocated for her, a logical outcome would be to just hide every medical and personal issue she faces in the future. That's how you end up with kids that don't tell you when they need help or when they're in trouble. OP may have just prevented a whole lot of future problems by showing his kid that he's a reliable person to talk to. Reply, Dad already is the go-to person, it seems, considering she went to him when it started, and trusted that he would help her, and then when she was trying to hide from what her mother was doing, trusted her dad would protect her. Yeah, good on you, OP. I think he has a beautiful relationship with his daughter. Comment 2, not the a-hole. My mom threw a rag day party for me when I had mine at 13. She walked in with my relatives, a cake that said, "Happy Rag Day, doll," while playing "Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon." I left. Some parents are absolutely clueless, and they like to make every event about them, not the person it should be about. Your daughter is going to know who she can go to about things that are private and that she needs to sort through in her own mind. It won't be your wife. And comment 3. Not the a-hole. I think it's incredibly creepy when mothers do this for a very inconvenient bodily function. It creeps me out that people say, "She's grown up," and "became a woman," because what it really means is she can get pregnant. I, like your daughter, didn't want to tell my mom because I had heard her tell the neighbor when my sister got hers. This is a strong case for bodily autonomy and not accepting that it is her daughter's right what she discloses to the general public about her own body. And there is an update, but yeah, I think those are very true comments, and I think OP's shown himself to be someone that his daughter can trust.
Good father here. I wouldn't ask the 19-year-old what her thoughts were. Call the 19-year-old daughter, "Dude, this is what your mom tried to pull. What do you think?"
I think that he could ask his 19-year-old to offer some guidance to his daughter, though, to his other daughter.
Yeah, that'll be good.
And say, like, hey, like, or maybe even ask the 12-year-old and say, like, hey, would you want to talk to your sister about this?
Yeah.
Because then you get, like, another woman's perspective, but also someone who's not directly mom and is trying to, like, take over everything.
Yeah, that's good, too.
Because it's nice, like, you do want to talk to other women and stuff. Like, it is nice to have someone who's gone through it, but it doesn't seem like the mom is going to be that person. So, yeah, is there anyone else she can talk to?
That's a good point.
And there is an update. I'm not going to divorce my wife or anything like that. She's an incredible woman, and as corny as it sounds, my one true love. She's been an amazing mom, never done anything like this before, wasn't planning on posting it to social media, she barely even uses Facebook. She just made a misstep here for reasons which I'll get into shortly. I can't respond to every comment, but I'll expand on some which caught my attention. 12-year-old did in fact get the talk from wife when she turned 12. So she knew what was happening, but it was still something she hadn't experienced before. So it threw her a little. I emailed my 2 closest sisters, and they both said, in their opinions, her reaction was normal, as one of them put it. Even at best, it can be a shock, regardless of whether or not you're prepared for it, because it just happens. And even if you've felt PMS-style symptoms without ever having felt them before, you might not guess what they are until afterward. It's just like when you're 12 or like when you're young and, you get your first period, it's just kind of like, whoa, it's like here, this thing that I, didn't know when it was going to happen is finally here. And it's just like, it's different.
Surprise.
Yeah.
I'm here now.
It's just, yeah, it's a little bit, it's not scary exactly, but it's just like.
Dude, I'd be so scared.
You're getting like, it's like a physical sign that you're getting older and you're like, whoa, okay.
I feel like that for boys, I'm just going to say boners.
Don't.
Oh no. Wow, what do I do?
What do I do?
I can't, it won't go down. I'm scared. The worst is when you have to do a presentation and it just happens.
That's crazy.
That's a canon event for every guy. Didn't that happen to you, Keon? You had to go up in front of the class and talk and it just would appear.
No.
Oh, poor Riley.
Okay, well, it happens.
Do you want to unwind that trauma?
That's rough.
I mean, you just waistband it, dude.
That's rough.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I can't talk about women's experience with this, but I can only imagine. I'd be so scared.
I mean, we can also just talk about could you imagine if there was a party for that? Like your parents threw a party for that?
Yeah,
Like your
it'd be
first
like,
time?
Like a
whoa.
boner?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
well, you're like,
it's
you-
totally natural and everything, but it's like I don't want everyone to necessarily know.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Can
no.
you, there you go. That's
Yeah.
kind of like not the same, but it's kind of the same mindset for at least for us. And it's like, why? I'm already awkward as is. Like these are your most awkward years of like trying to figure yourself out, and your body is figuring itself out.
Self-regulating.
It does more than pee.
12-year-old is like you're at like the most awkward age. You don't want anyone to perceive you.
You really don't. You just kind of want to be invisible until you turn into an adult.
Exactly. No, I did not notice the decorations being put up. I had to go out and run some errands related to my work. Was gone about 3 to 4 hours. More than enough time for wife to decorate. Before we had kids, wife and I agreed we would treat our boys and girls the same when it came to bodily functions. I.e., we'd make sure boys would be comfortable going to her with questions or problems if I wasn't around, and vice versa. And over the years, we would keep up with age-appropriate literature so we'd be equally informed. Just so happened we only had girls. I love that. I absolutely think both parents should be informed and ready to talk about either experience. I think it's helpful for let's like a girl to talk to her mom about an experience that is shared, or like a boy to talk to his father. But I think both parents should absolutely be educated. And,
Yep. And you can go to our classes where we explain how to talk to your kids about it, hosted by Dakota and Keon.
Oh my gosh.
Where they will teach you how to talk about the birds and the bees with your child.
That's crazy. I don't want that.
Oh, sorry. It's Dakota and Sam.
You know what? I trust Keon.
Okay, Dakota and Sam.
I trust Keon to do it.
It's Dakota and Sam then.
Around 10 or so, when they started wanting more detailed explanations of where babies come from and such, we always conducted such conversations as a team, making it clear to each of them they could count on either of us. That being said, there have been some things which I never took part in. For example, the 19-year-old never asked me to take her bra shopping. That was all wife. She did, however, occasionally ask me to pick up tampons or such in the years before she went to college.
That's crazy. Also, my mom said that she gave me the talk when I was 5 and like would always like not mention it, but like explain it to me. I was like, dude, I did not even remember that until I was in 5th grade. I blocked it all out.
Dude, my parents gave me the talk.
When? When?
Like last year. And I was like, this is far too late.
Wait, because we went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
Or like private Catholic school or whatever. Didn't they like go to that class with you? Or like did your mom go? Did you not have that?
I didn't have a class.
It wasn't like a class. It was like a specific like after school, like one of those.
No.
I know what you're talking about.
I had one of those. Like the girls part of my class went to one room and the boys' side went to their room, and like you need an adult, and it talks about puberty and like.
No, we had spicy ed. But like it was like about our body. Like we had classes to learn about our bodies and stuff, but like it was mostly anything to do with spicy.
And at 5
sweet,
of like when a mom and
chastity.
dad loves each other, they have a kid. Not like this is where this thing goes to that and the functions of it. It's just sort of like this is what married people like have children. They have in that kind of sense. But I don't remember.
I think there's age appropriate ways to talk about it.
That day. That was a weird day.
Yeah,
because all the boys were like, "What is going on?"
Whoa.
But how did that talk go?
With my parents?
Did they explain how it all works?
No, they started to say, Sophia. And I went, I don't need you to. I'm 22.
I figured it out, guys.
Why are you trying to have this
online.
conversation now? Because I had gotten my first boyfriend and I was 23, I guess. And they were like, Sophia. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, Carly was in it. I think it was like 5th grade, 5th or 6th grade. Yeah, like it was a very like old timey, not old, but it was like very late 90s, early 2000s video.
I think I learned things mostly from my friends, like in around like 4th, 5th grade. Just my friends would be talking about it. They'd be like, "Yeah, it's this. Did you know that?" And that's how I learned everything.
The blurry spot.
Yeah.
The blurry spot.
No 12-year-old did not want to wait to tell me. It happened right after she got home from school on a half day. Wife works 10-hour shifts, so she wouldn't have been there, as I said in my original post, for another 4 hours. 12-year-old has always been closer to wife than me. 19-year-old was closer to me than wife, but who was available. I'm sure that if we'd both been around, 12-year-old would have gone to her mom. I wasn't trying to claim the dialogue was verbatim what we said. My memory isn't that good. But the general tone is there, and some of it I did in fact remember word for word. So after a few days, things around the house went back to normal. Wife cooled off, 12-year-old began to talk to her again, and they didn't appear to have any issues. Except that 12-year-old began coming to me more often about things instead of her mom, because you have shown her that you are a trusted adult. Wife obviously noticed, as they'd been very close before this, and was hurt but said nothing. I mean, girl, if you betray your daughter's trust, it's gonna happen. I guess she figured she deserved it. Finally, one day after I got back from taking 12-year-old to school, Wife asked if 12-year-old was still angry with her. I said I didn't think so, and wife just kind of deflated. She looked so miserable that I actually got worried and asked if she was still angry. Wife said no, then admitted that she effed up and gotten too into the concept of what others have been calling a menstruation celebration, which is a great phrase. It even rhymes. Said she'd been so focused on making sure 12-year-old had a positive experience that she brushed aside her reluctance to take part. And in my wife's defense, 12-year-old regularly does this. She'll say she isn't looking forward to doing something, but if she pushes past her shyness and takes part, nearly always has a good time.
That's every 12-year-old girl I've ever met.
Every 12-year-old. So wife had thought this was just another example of 12-year-old doing that and didn't take it seriously. Then wife said something which threw me for a loop. She asked me if I thought 12-year-old hated her now. I was stunned and automatically replied, of course not. She's just... And then I kind of trailed off because I didn't really know what to say. Upset was what I finally settled on. Wife was quiet. Then I asked her why she'd been so insistent since she hadn't tried to do this for 19-year-old. No drama there. 19-year-old got hers at 13 while they were out shopping. It was handled before they even left the mall. She said when 19-year-old started, it was just such a busy day that she didn't really have any time to think about it beyond, quick, let's get to the bathroom so I can help. And it wasn't until after this that wife really thought about her own first, which basically consisted of her being told virtually nothing beforehand by her emotionally manipulative mother. They've been no contact for 15 years, barely being 12 when it happened. And when she did go to her mom, only being handed a box of pads and warned not to get pregnant. Ouch.
The times were different.
I understand where this mom's coming from. She didn't do the right thing, but it was coming from a good place.
Yeah, it
I
always comes from a
agree.
good place.
You tell them with the resources that you have.
Mm-hmm. Nothing more was ever said about it between them. My wife had to learn nearly everything from a friend's mom. Yeah, that old woman is a piece of work. But you know what's never work? Listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Happy family. I love that we are able to realize in this family that we're not perfect.
I think she overcorrected. I think the mom said, my mom never did anything, and then I'm going to really make this a special moment. What?
She Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
She offered, yeah, exactly. She's like, I just want to make this a really special moment because my mom never did anything for mine, and then overcorrected. And I think, honestly, just go to your daughter and say that. You're human. I think, kids see their parents as not these perfect people, but as people who are supposed to be perfect. And I think if you come to them and say hey, I made a mistake. I should have listened to you. I'm really sorry I hurt your feelings and betrayed your trust. I won't do that again. Or I'll try not to do that in the future. And just apologize.
Yeah, it's that meme where you're when we were all kids and you saw a 25-year-old, wow, they had it all figured out.
Everything, yeah.
And then we hit that, you're like, what?
Oh, man.
And now kids are looking at us? Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wonder what my brothers think of me. Do they think I got it all figured out?
Okay.
I wonder. They're probably nah, Riley's just in the land of the fruits and nuts, and he don't know what he's doing out there.
Yeah, they probably do. They probably look up to you.
I'm going to pick these green beans. Who knows?
So true. Wife was determined she wouldn't behave like that towards 12-year-old when it happened, but as events show, she basically went too far in the other direction. Then she asked me what I thought she could do to fix this. I told her the truth. 12-year-old probably wasn't going to feel comfortable confiding in her again for a while, but if she really wanted to apologize, she should tell 12-year-old what she just told me. And so she did. Wife went to pick 12-year-old up from school, and when they got home, I saw they'd both been crying, but also seemed happier. Yay! Turned out I wasn't quite right, and 12-year-old had still been harboring some resentment towards wife. Well, of course she had. For trying to push her into the party, but after hearing wife's story, 12-year-old decided to forgive her, only asking that wife promise not to do something like that again. And 2 months later, this happened in May, things between them seemed to be back to normal. Maybe not the most exciting resolution, but I don't think 12-year-old is going to hold a grudge over this or has permanently damaged their relationship. And some final comments to finish the story off. Comment 1, I think your wife learned a valuable lesson and your kid will probably be okay with her. Albeit this might be one memory she won't look back upon very fondly. But she might look back upon that memory of talking to her mom about her own experiences fondly. It might be the day that I had the period wasn't that great, but the day that my mom came and apologized and we talked about our experiences together and bonded.
Dude, this feels like an episode of a TV show for some reason.
No, I see it. And then at the end, this is like the wrapping up and like, hey, kiddo,
like
I'm sorry I didn't listen
Full
to you.
House.
Yeah.
I think this is part of growing up too, like especially being a parent. I'm not a parent. We're not parents, but
you're a parent.
Our parents embarrassed us sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's a part of being a parent and like that bond. Like I'm not saying bully them or do it all the time, but it's like, you know, I'm a dad. Be like being an awkward dad, you know? And I feel like that was this, you know.
Parents are humans. They make mistakes.
We were young
and
ones.
And you're learning.
Yeah, they were young ones.
Yeah.
We were young ones.
My mother was very supportive of periods. We don't need to be ashamed type, but it's such a change. Such a stupid thing, too. I remember being so upset that I'd have to endure this crap for the next 40 years or so. And the idea that I would have to buy period stuff on my own? I didn't, but I thought that at one point as an adult I'd have to. At that point, this is a commenter. At that point in time, it seems so horrible, so everyone will know that I hated even the periods being mentioned. It's definitely something that is natural, but due to age, when it happens, is a very fragile period anyway. Even in families where it's natural and normal, I think girls are overwhelmed. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to be bleeding for the rest of my life now? Oh, no.
Not until the rest of your life.
Well, yeah, not the rest of your life, until, you know.
Wow.
You're a little bit older.
Woman doctor here knows more.
Okay, well, when I was a child, I thought I'd be bleeding forever.
I'm sorry that happened, but you were
There
misinformed.
are people it does happen. There's, you know.
Yeah,
there are some scenarios like that, but
they last different time periods for everyone. But
when I was, wait, you said 11? What did you say?
I said, but
no,
they last different periods. What?
Oh, I thought the world was not going to exist after a certain period, and it'd all just be a white space. That's what
Do you think 2012 was real?
That's what I was.
That was a great movie. I loved that movie. No.
I never really had to go through like the what is going on thing because I got it much later than I think a lot of my peers. Like I think everyone was getting it at 12.
Can I ask what age?
15. Yeah, so I just started high school and everyone had already had it and I was like, well, here it is.
Wow.
It was kind of nice though because I didn't have to deal with it. I didn't really want it. I didn't really want it to come. I was like, because everyone else was.
You didn't have to deal with it. That's something
until
you had to
15.
Deal with. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't have to deal with it when everyone else was dealing with it.
I thought you meant like when it happened, I didn't have to deal with it.
No, I did have to deal with it.
You didn't have to deal with it.
I did have to deal with it, but prior to that, everyone else was dealing with it. I was like, that sucks for you guys. And then but it comes. Yeah, Kitty B says 15, so lucky. It was nice. It was nice, like not having to deal with that in middle school. Great.
Yeah, you were lucky. Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like.
So I knew one of my family friends. She got it at like 8, which I'm like,
whoa.
Oof. Yeah, she got it really young. Yeah, but that's the end of that story, folks. Don't be afraid to talk about periods with your kids.
That's right.
Natural, but also don't throw period parties if they don't want it.
I don't think you throw. Maybe like I feel like for the mom and the daughter do that. Like
yeah,
a little bonding
go
moment.
get her like a little treat.
Yeah, get her some ice cream. You know, watch a movie, cry it out.
Yeah, get some
her
chocolate. Take a bath.
I think that sounds nice.
Like,
I
agree.
If I had a daughter and like, okay, do you want to do that?
Yeah, I remember the first time that my mom went and she got me bras. Except it was a whole thing. I refused to go to the store with her, so she went and got me training bras because I was crying, and she brought them back to me. And that was a nice moment. She was.
Dude, I don't even know if I could have handled having this sister. Oh my gosh, like why are you crying all the time?
Why are you crying? Well, that was pre the period. So.
Still.
Oh, was it? Yeah, it was.
Well, I mean, my cousin Olivia, she kind of was around. She was kind of like a sister, but like I didn't have to live with her. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Dang.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Oh,
I could not. I don't know what I'd do. Like, oh, you're so emotional. You need so many things.
What do I do?
Yeah.
I don't know. You figure it out.
I do remember that time when my sister first had it, and boy, oh boy, as a teenage boy going through that fiasco, oh my God, I was like, I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah. I don't know what Sam's
and my
thoughts
dad
on
said
that
the same
was.
thing. He's like, I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah.
Would have.
My dad was funny about it.
That's the end of the episode, guys, and stream.
Yeah. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.